Okay, here we are. I'm not normally a person who shares his workouts. I'm not typically. I just don't think that what I specifically do is of that much value to other people, right? Because we should be doing what is best for us, and I don't know that what's best for me or what fits my goals and my desires and my body necessarily is going to fit for anybody else. I don't like to make recommendations based on that. So that's why I don't share a lot of workouts. But I figure some people might be curious, and it's a little change of pace given the environment that we're in, where we're having to be maybe stuck indoors, or at least we're avoiding our places where we work out frequently. People might be interested in this, with the social distancing and all that. Like, what am I doing? I don't know. Maybe nobody's interested, but I figured I'd share this anyway. Uh, in particular, one of the things I'm trying to focus on is a certain set of martial arts related drills that maybe I've been neglecting for a long time. And that's my general suggestion to any of you out there. What's something that you maybe don't do during your normal workouts that you can get some value from? Something that maybe lends itself to working out either in limited space or doing something that's very by yourself when normally you have a partner. And maybe it's not the most exciting thing, but make the best of it. We're all having to make the best of the situation that we're in. So that's where I am. For me, I'm working on some striking drills and a variety of other things, but some striking drills that I've known, but partly inspired by some recent videos I was re-watching by Michael Jai White, who, if you don't know, is one of my favorite martial artists. The dude's amazing. And he was talking about how to stay linear with your strikes and all that. So I figured I'd share some of that. I'm not nearly on his level, but I can try to talk about it and show what I'm doing. So without further ado, let's talk about that. So, people speeding out there. He was talking, for example, about side kicks. Sticking a leg out, right? Just punching out to the side, but with your foot, trying to strike in a straight line. And one of the things that he was talking about is, and it was a very good point, was how people will kind of kick out and then let their foot drop and scrape alongside their target. So I have just enough room here. I can do this without hitting anything. So I'll pick my knee up, and this is my hurt knee, so I'm trying to regain function in this. It's another reason why doing these drills might be valuable for me right now. And just coming out and back in. And what I'm trying to do is keep my heel and my knee moving along the same line. That is, I'm not spinning my leg through the air a whole lot. There's going to be some movement as I start to extend where my knee is going to drop and my foot's going to come up. But then eventually I get to this point where they're basically going straight out and back in, roughly. I know it's not perfect. But this kind of piston action where I'm striking out, he talks about it as almost like an arrow. Helps you to visualize the direction of your actual strike, and you spend some time with this. And there's something similar with punches I'll go over in a bit, but I'm just doing these. So I'm going to do a set of these, and then I'm going to move into some upper body stuff. So I come out here, boom, trying to keep my balance with my right foot here. Out, back in. So not dropping, not like that. I'm coming out and in. 1, 2. Hips are already getting a little sore because I'm so out of practice from this stuff. I used to do tons of these. Other side here. So now my base is my weak leg, but I think I actually have better balance on this side. Years and years of kicking with my right leg. So here, same thing. Out, in. Whoop. I can slow it down. There we go. There's always a time and a place for slowing down. This might be a good one for me. Relearning how to stabilize this base leg. So these are the kinds of things I'm working on right now. There we go. And I can snap my right leg out that hard because my right knee is fine. I can't go quite that fast with my left knee. So if I pick this one up again, probably can't tell with the frame rate on this camera, but this leg, I can't handle that kind of snap. Maybe one day. That's about as hard as I can go. So if I do pick it up from the floor, I want to make sure that I chamber it. That is, I set it before the kick in such a way that I can come straight out. And then sometimes we rush and we go here. We're picking the foot up and we're already going out, kind of coming out in a diagonal. In real life, this does happen. But for the drill, we try to minimize that. So from here, I come up. Of course, it looks something like that. And then I shoot it out. Now, I don't have to tilt this way. I can tilt my leg this way to kind of get it ready. And that's actually what it's probably going to look like. So we're coming up, boom, out, boom. And yeah, I have to lean over. This hip isn't as flexible as my right. So my right, I can stay a little more upright. Up, out, and down. Up, out, and down. If I try it on this side, up, out, you probably tell I'm leaning over more. It's just because this hip is not where it needs to be. Working on that. This whole left side is trashed. Smashed this foot, blew out this knee, tore this labrum. My left shoulder's more messed up than my right because I had a labral tear here. Separated the shoulder twice. This one only once. So everything on the left side is just trashed. Working on it. Up, out, and down. Up, out, and down. Losing my balance. So that's kind of what we're working on. And of course, you can integrate that into movement, whole body movement. What I mean by that is translating forward and backward, side to side. So I can come in and deliver that same kick forward, stepping in. I know you can't see my feet, so I apologize. I just don't have this set up. I can't really set this up properly here. But I come in, and it's the same thing. There's going to be a little bit of a scoop sometimes because the body's still rocking as you move through space. The basic idea is to, as I'm hopping forward, I'm moving from my right leg to my left. So I'm on my left leg, right leg is out here, it's ready to go, and I just probably would want to be a little tighter, and then bang! Done without the pause, it'll be here. Boom! I have to go slower on this side, since I'm jumping with my weak knee. Boom! Same thing though, same up, out, in, and down kind of movement. But I'm combining that with a little skip. That's all it is. I'm just kind of skipping across here. Just enough room for one good skip. Here, hands are up, and boom, boom. You can also do it just walking. So instead of jumping through the air, I can just kind of step. That's probably safer for most people, easier, but it also has value, right? So you don't have to be able to bounce through the air to kick and punch effectively. All right, next up, and I'll show you from this side. Yeah, actually, if I did the kick here, if you wanted to see it side on, might be a little awkward angle, but it looks something like this. You see my knees up in front, I'm kind of tight here. In fact, we used to practice by holding this in my taekwondo class. My foot's not floppy. I'm pulling it up here so I can present the heel and or the edge of the foot. And I come out here, boom. Yeah, see my foot look all huge. Same thing other side. Boom, boom. Now, I said I go to upper body. So, some of the punches I'm working on. I can stand even, but realistically there's a little bit of turning that is needed for a couple of reasons. I'm parroting a lot of what White put in his video. In fact, I can link underneath this video to one of the videos, or more than one maybe, where he talked about striking. But he makes very good points. So a lot of people in formal martial arts do this little thing, I've done it too, where they punch and they keep their body completely flat, like in this flat plane, not allowing one shoulder to come in front of the other. But realistically, you are turning when you're striking. To project forward and get a little bit more reach on the striking arm, there's also a protective reason for it. So my hands come up, so instead of going in this very formal 1, 2 kind of thing, from the side it would look like this. Here. It looks great for lining people up in classes. May have some value in terms of building timing, but realistically, it's not, you don't want to develop that as a habit that you then take to an extreme into actual sparring or fighting. So what he was talking about doing, and I'm going to put one foot forward here, was allowing the torso to move and allowing this arm to come forward. And if I want to punch you really, really hard, I'm not going to get into how he made fists and all that. He does talk about that. But if I want to punch really, really hard, I want to be able to project that shoulder forward, have a little bit of a twist, and push off of my rear leg. So if I'm coming up here, I'm also just not staying here, keeping my hands high enough to project forward here. From the side, what you'll notice is that I'm allowing my torso to twist, and you'll see I may have started here where the punching arm is a little bit back. By the time I finish, this shoulder rather is ahead of the other shoulder. So there was this general kind of movement. And then we can fix something with the shoulder blade here, letting this sit by tightening this up, almost wrenching the elbow down into the side a little. So I'm projecting this very tightly by my side. So my elbow is not flaring out. It's one way to keep the elbow from flaring and doing this number, doing what some people sometimes call a cowboy punch. You know, these big, wide, sweeping kind of things that people do in barroom brawls. Might get you somewhere, but for higher level martial artists, boxers, etc., and boxers, I say they are martial artists, that's fine. For these people, for fighters, they want to be able to probably keep things on the line and not telegraph their movements quite so much, and definitely not waste all this time here. And there's something to be said for being able to project everything in a straight line and actually hit in the direction you're aiming. If I want to knock something back, I don't want my direction to be across, for example. There is a reason to do a hook, and there are different versions of hooks. You have ones where the hand is more vertical here, right, where the fingers would be basically parallel to the ribs if I'm hitting somebody in the side. And then there are these horizontal hand hooks as well. There's value to both. I'm not going to get into that, right? But what I do want to say is that as I'm coming forward here, I don't want to lean into the punch too much. I do want to allow my torso to turn, and at the same time, I want to try to lock this shoulder down. So here, you may be able to see that my lat's engaging a little bit more. I'm not getting into the minutia of what's really mechanically happening here. It's a good cue. It tends to seem to tighten up the arm and shoulder. And I have to slow this down. And I can switch my feet. So now this is the rear side. My right leg is back now. Same kind of thing. So I'm not letting this go too far forward. And it's just cueing me to kind of lock this down. Something I haven't worked on in a while. And then what I can start doing, since I'm aiming this punch kind of to somebody's solar plexus, if I want to go to the face, I'm letting the shoulder come up just a bit. I know the angle of the camera is off a little, but it's not just the angle. My shoulder is up a bit. So if I come down to the level of the camera, kind of a deep stance here. When I punch, I'm not just keeping my shoulders down like this. I'm exaggerating it a bit, but there is a little bit of cover. So that if I come across, if I can kind of rotate in place here, the shoulder might be giving my chin a little bit of protection. I might be able to duck my head down just a bit. Right. Other side, same kind of thing. So my left side triceps look the same as my right. I don't know if they do. I'm probably a little uneven. Yay, genetics or bad training. So, same kind of thing. Right, I'm letting my body turn. So there's going to be a little bit of that shoulder coming up. There's going to be a little bit of this thing going on. But I am still trying to think about locking this down a little. That may seem to be contradictory. And indeed, if I'm totally stuck back here, of course my arm can't come forward. I have to let my shoulder blade roll forward. I have to allow my shoulder blades to abduct or to protract to get my arm to come forward. Right? But some amount of tension here, or some amount of contraction or activity or whatever, all of those terms can break down. But some amount of something going on with my lat here to kind of try to tighten up the arm by the side. So my elbow's not flaring out here, but it's down here. Some amount of that might stabilize the punch and allow me to project a little more strongly through my target. I don't have a bag to hit or anything, so I'm just working this through the air. But low punch, so my shoulder isn't coming up. Little bit of lat going on here. A little more conscious activation or activity of it. These aren't great terms, but switch my arms, or switch my feet rather. This is just a cueing thing, by the way. In real life, I would not be sticking this arm way out probably. I don't do that when I spar with people, unless I'm trying to distract them or something. Normally this would stay closer. This would be more here, or something. Something closer to my body, and especially closer to my face and jaw, right? But it does help with cueing the turn of the body. Come a little higher. I'm not nearly as fast as I need to be. If I stay really relaxed, which is hard to do and still pulling this arm in, so I'm not great at these. Yes, I've been punching and kicking stuff for years, better part of 15 years. Still don't claim to be awesome. But these are some of the things I'm working on. And any martial artists who also do striking, maybe this gives you some ideas. Maybe it gives you the idea that I'm totally incompetent and don't want to listen to me. That's fine. But this is just sharing what I'm working on, for better or for worse. So maybe there's some value to that. I don't know. But this is just a quick thing. I figured I'd put it out. And maybe you enjoy it, maybe you don't, but there you go. And I'm going to keep working on a few things, probably do a few stretches that are even more boring to watch than what you just saw, but there it is. Do something, be productive. There's always something you can work on. Maybe you're not a martial artist, maybe you just want to stay fit. There is some exercise you can do. Heck, just like sitting there and contracting your abs while you're doing the dishes, or sitting a little bit lower and just seeing if you can go into a bit of a squat, or any of a million things. You have options, you just have to see them. So that's a big message there. That, and if you're a martial artist, here are a couple of basic things you can maybe work on. I'm going to keep trying to rehab this knee and trying to improve my own punching. I'm going to keep sweating in here a little bit. Not enough airflow. I need to turn on that fan. And I'll catch you all next time. Take it easy.